Hey y'all, Darla here with Growing Tropical. Well, I couldn't ask for a better day. It is overcasty, there's a little rain in the forecast, but better yet, our humidity is a little bit lower and our temperatures are a little bit lower. It's by no means cold by any length of measure. As you can see, I'm in a tank top. It's a little bright out here, but all in all, it's a really great day to actually film a video. So I've been wanting to get out here on the south side of our property and actually do a short video for you guys. For those of you who are following my channel, hopefully you saw the video where I actually refurbished this whole side yard over here. And you also have seen that it has just been a huge challenge for me over here with growing things. And I think that I finally got in front of it. I'm hoping. We have definitely added a lot more irrigation over here, and while that has been a huge help, this side yard over here, because it's so long and narrow, it doesn't really have a lot of airflow, and it really wasn't worked, I guess. The dirt and everything over here, the landscaping wasn't worked. I mean, we had very limited things over here, and I didn't really do a whole lot with it. And so when I started really working the ground, it lacked a lot. I mean, I was just dealing with just basically pure sand over here. So what I've been trying to do is as I plant, I've been trying to add more amendments to the soil. In this particular case, I add like a cow manure, the compost, I guess is what you want to label it as, but I add the compost each time I plant something now, and I do think that is helping, but I've got a long way to go yet. But what I wanted to do is I just kind of wanted to show you very quickly how some of the things are doing over here, some of the things that actually did very well over here, and some of the things that are struggling a little bit. And then I also wanted to show you one very special thing at the end of this video that I found, special to me anyway, and hopefully you guys will like it, in a shrub that I found. And so anyway, what I'm going to do is just kind of take you along just a little bit on the south side, and let's talk a little bit about some of the staple plants and some of the things that did really well over here. Okay, first on the list of beautiful plants on this south side of the yard is my beautiful Skyflower. This is also known as a Duranta erecta. I am not really good when it comes to botanical names, but this one I actually could pronounce. I think I can. But anyway, this guy is absolutely beautiful. This is fairly new, a new grower for me. They've been around for a while, don't get me wrong, it's not a new plant, but for me, I was walking into, I believe it was a Lowe's last year, and as I was walking along, I saw these spectacular plants growing. They had just bunches of them thrown up on their shelf. Looked like they were newly stocked, and I thought, oh my gosh, what is that? And I fell madly in love, and I bought one, and I can't remember if it was this one or the one that I've got back there that was in the ground first, but either way, I bought two of them, and I brought them home. And this guy, I went ahead and put him in a pot, and I wanted to just grow him as just a willy-nilly shrub in here, and he's doing really well. Now, a little bit about the Skyflower, or the Duranta erecta, is they are native to South America and the Caribbean, so they are definitely tropical in nature. They are absolutely beautiful. They get anywhere from 5 to 15 foot high if you let them. Now, obviously, he's not going to get even near that growing in this container, because he wouldn't be able to, because his roots wouldn't allow him to get that high. But I'm just going to keep him in here for as long as he looks beautiful, and I'm just going to kind of trim on him. But he's got the most spectacular, beautiful, I'm not sure if you guys can see this. I'm going to bring the camera in a little bit closer, but look at the beautiful showy flowers that are on him. And actually, this is not very many for right now. He had it was loaded, and it kind of just lost a lot. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of trim him up a little bit to kind of just make that explosion of color. Full lavender purple flowers, native to South America, the Caribbean. They grow in a full sun to part shade. I would recommend, my experience so far in growing them, I would recommend a full sun. They seem to do really well, and that's saying a lot living here in South Florida, when you can grow these guys in the dead summer heat. And being on the south side was the true test. So these guys definitely do really well in a full sun. In a part sun, I guess I should say. I'm not really sure how well or not well they would do, because I don't have the experience with that. But they are actually considered to be toxic like the berries, because what happens is they do get a flower and then they do fruit, and the fruit is like a little orangey in color. It's really quite pretty. It already went through it, like back in the summer months. It put on some like very orangey colored looking little fruits, but they are they're very toxic, it does say. So you'd want to make sure that if you have these in your landscape, that you are growing them in an area where they're out of the way of little hands and mouths, you know, small children and animals. So what else? Let's see. They're beautiful. That's what there is. They're just beautiful. They're beautiful plants. I would recommend anyone growing these guys. This particular one and the one that I actually have back there, they've done just super well. He is starting to show just a little bit of iron deficiency, and that doesn't surprise me because, you know, I've just been watering like crazy. So I'm going to need to, on his next fertilizer, make sure that I give him maybe a little bit of an iron supplement to boot. He's not in full-on chlorosis or anything at this point, but you can see where his leaves are not quite as brilliant green as like I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm going to bring the camera in a little bit. You can see some of these are lighter in color, lighter green than some of these up in here, a little bit deeper. And and he doesn't really have any definitive margins or anything yet, because chlorosis, usually a telltale sign of chlorosis is you've got you've got a yellowing leaf, and then the veins are usually darker in green. And that's usually a surefire way to tell whether you have chlorosis. This isn't too bad at this particular juncture. So anyway, Skyflowers, they're absolutely beautiful. Oh, one more thing too. I've seen a lot of people grow them as standards, which is like a tree form. So they look like a lollipop. You've got one main stem that grows right up the center, and then it's just a nice, really pretty, almost like a topiary form actually. But maybe as I go down the road and I get, you know, used to growing these guys, that I will maybe try to do that later on. And if I do, I will put it on film to show you how that all goes. But anyway, I don't have anything like that now. So let me take you down real quick while we're on the Skyflower, and I'm going to show you the one that I actually have growing in the landscape that actually suffered a little bit more than this one, and I'll explain why. Okay, here is the other Skyflower. Now this guy is planted directly into the ground, and if you can see this, I'm going to bring the camera up a little bit closer. This guy actually is he's experiencing chlorosis. You can actually see the leaves, and I'm not sure, let me see if I can get close on this so you guys can actually see. But on these leaves, I hope I can get this to focus. You can actually see where the leaf itself it's like almost mottled looking. You can see where the leaf itself is yellow, and then the veins are, see how close I can get in this focus. There, I think that's probably good. Anyway, you can see where the veins are green and the leaf itself is actually yellowy. So this guy is definitely in more of a full-on chlorosis. Now, the reason I believe that this one experienced this as opposed to the other one is because in the container, it was a much more controlled environment. I could go right in there and I was able to fertilize that guy. Well, I fertilized this guy too, but the fertilizer in our sandy conditions, it tends to leach a little bit more. And even though I do use a very stable release or a time release formula in my fertilizers, this guy, because this area, this south side area, it is so sandy and it's so dry, I'm really having to make sure that I work the soil really well. And honestly, you guys, when I planted him, I do not believe that I amended the soil over here. This is something that I've just started getting in front of as I've been planting more and more over here. And when I planted him, I do not believe that I added any compost to the hole, the planting hole. So now I know, and maybe that would have helped, you know, in the long run. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and give him another fertilization. And again, making sure that I give maybe a little bit of an iron supplement as I'm doing that. But all in all, he actually did quite well through the summer months. He put on quite a show. Now, I have him in an area where, I mean, I can control it by, you know, coming in and making sure that I trim him down. Just remember, a good rule of thumb is anytime you're planting anything, but in a shrub in this case, make sure that you look at that tag to know exactly how big it's going to get, because, you know, if somewhat, like say if I came in here and I wasn't aware that he was going to get anywhere from 5 to 15 foot high, and I put him here, this would not be a place obviously that I'd want to put him, but I knew that going in here, and I have just been kind of trimming him into a nice neat little shape, and it's been working. And if you don't want to have to do that, if you don't want to have the maintenance on it, I would definitely recommend that you would read the label on any shrub to make sure that it's put in the correct spot. But in this case, I do know how big he is capable of getting, and as long as I'm on top of it, and as long as I'm, you know, nipping and tucking on him all the time, he stays into a nice, neat little compact shrub for me, and I can keep him a little bit lower than what my pitch apples are. So anyway, there you guys have it. That is the Skyflower. They're absolutely beautiful, and I would recommend anybody, even in your northern climates where you get a freeze, you can grow them in containers. You can overwinter them, but if they do get a slight freeze in a milder cold climate, they will die back, but then they will absolutely rebound. And you know what? I don't know if these are perennial shrubs. I'm going to pop that up on the screen because I don't really know if it's considered a perennial shrub, or I want to say it's an evergreen shrub, but don't mark my words on that. Look up at the top of the screen. I want to say it's an evergreen though. But anyway, let's move on to the next plant. Okay, so the next plant that we're going to look at is the hibiscus. Now this one that I've got in front of me here is absolutely beautiful. I love these guys. These are called red hots, and they are so very pretty. And while I do have behind me here, this is just a regular, I don't even know what the name of it actually is. I don't know if I actually kept the tag on this. Sometimes I do, and I'll pop them. Oh my gosh, look at this, you guys. How good am I? I actually did put that in the ground. I've been trying to do that because I lose track of what they actually are. And this one is actually called a Celia Hibiscus. And oh my gosh, I am so excited that I did that. But the Celia Hibiscus, I'm going to bring this in here and see if I can't show you how beautiful. See if you guys can see that, how absolutely beautiful that is. It's an orangey, big orangey, and the leaves, or not the leaves, the bloom on it is real ruffly. She doesn't have any on her right now. She went through her, I'm going to pop this back in the ground because I cannot believe that I did that. Oh, that is so exciting that I did that. Okay, so that is the Celia Hibiscus. Yay, I can't believe that I did that. And I was able to find it. But anyway, she's not in bloom right now. And but I remember her orangey blooms were absolutely beautiful. And I just loved the ruffling. I love hibiscus anyway. We grow them here, like just, it's one of our staple plants here in South Florida. But anyway, this guy right here, solid green leaves, just solid green leaves, definitely known for its blooms. Now the red hot that's here in front of me, you wouldn't need to have a bloom on this because they're so beautiful. If you guys can see just how gorgeous, the more sun that these are in, the hotter this pink actually becomes. It's like a pinky red. I mean, actually it's like a fuchsia color. It's absolutely stunning. They do actually bloom. They have a beautiful red bloom on them, but it's really funny because when they do actually bloom, the blooms just kind of hang down, and they're nothing like super spectacular. And I don't know if it's because the foliage on them are so beautiful that it really just, you don't even need the bloom, but they do bloom a pretty red flower on them. And just so you understand too, that these red hots, if they are put in just a little bit of shade, they will just revert all the way back to, I don't even have a solid green because this one's in the direct sun, but they will go back to a solid colored green leaf with absolutely no coloring in them. So definitely you want to make sure, like this guy behind me or whatever, if I were to put this in a little bit more of a shade, it wouldn't harm them. I mean, obviously hibiscus need to go in a full-on sun situation. And if they do have a little bit of a shadier situation, it wouldn't harm them. I shouldn't say harm them. It wouldn't make a difference as far as the colors of their leaves are concerned. So here you've got two very different hibiscus, one red hots and then one Celia hibiscus, and two absolute beauties. Two plants that I would definitely grow over on this south side. They are heat tolerant, they're drought tolerant, They are fertilizer hogs. They just love to be fertilizers, no doubt about that. And the more fertilizer that I shouldn't say the more fertilizer, because you definitely don't want to over fertilize anything, but the more, how do I always say, I keep saying more fertilizer, I guess, keeping a good fertilizing schedule. There you go. I like that better. Keeping a good fertilizing schedule is very important for these hibiscus because they are definitely very heavy feeders. So again, one that I'm extremely happy with, along with the Skyflower that I was showing you earlier. So let's move on to another one of the plants that did super well over here. Okay, another foliage color, I should say, another beautiful shrub that did gorgeous over here, or wonderfully over here, is the croton. And for any of you guys that follow my channel, I don't really have to remind you guys, because you know I love crotons. They are definitely one of my favorite, probably in the top 3 of all, maybe even the top 2 of my favorite shrubs to grow in the landscape. I am really trying to incorporate more with foliage color in my landscape than I am with flowers. Don't get me wrong, I love flowers, I love seasonal color, but I am trying to get to the point in my landscape where I am growing more things for foliage color, because I'm having really good luck with it, and I love that tropical flair, that tropical look that it gives the landscape. And crotons definitely are on the top of the list when it comes to foliage color. And I mean, the colors are just endless with these guys. Now, this guy right here, I believe this is my Mamie, if I'm not mistaken. There's so many different varieties of crotons, you can't even hardly keep them all together, but I do believe that this is a Mamie. And they're definitely tropical in nature, zoned for a 9 or 10 and warmer, I believe. If they get, temperatures that are in the 40s, they're going to throw a fit. That's my experience. They will throw a fit. They will definitely lose their leaves. But they are very resilient plants, as long as they don't get, frozen. Because if they get a freeze, they will definitely die. I don't believe I know anybody who's ever had one that they've gone through a freeze and they've come back. Just not a very good cold tolerating plant at all. So, but if you do actually grow them in a northern climate, they grow beautifully in pots. You can, bring them in and overwinter them, and you can grow them in the house as well. But they're just so versatile. Their colors are just so magnificent that there's just not enough good things to say about them. I mean, there's so many good things to say about them. And so anyway, this absolutely did gorgeous over here. The beautiful thing about the crotons are they do have a little bit of a drought tolerance, which I think that's probably why they did as well over here, because the soil, it dries over here quite a bit, and because it's so sandy or whatever, it really was able to tolerate the more drought conditions. So anyway, the croton, absolutely beautiful, which is going to lead me into my next, as we're going into the end of this video, I want to show you a plant that I absolutely love, and one that I absolutely found because I was looking for this specific color. So let's move on to the next shrub that did really well over here. Okay, so another shrub that did extremely well over here is the copperleaf plant. I absolutely love these, and much like the croton plants, they are beautiful foliage color. I absolutely love it. This particular one is more of like it's a bronzy, pinky, yellowy, green. I mean, it's just mottled with all kinds of color. And the more sun that this particular shrub gets, the more beautiful. Can you guys see this? Where this pink just gets just like hot pink. It's absolutely stunning. Now, if you put it in a little bit more of a shadier environment or shady conditions, the leaves are going to turn a little bit more, not a little bit more, they're going to go a lot more deep. They're going to get more bronzy. And again, a lot like the croton, they're drought tolerant, they are salt tolerant. You can grow them in a container. You can grow them out in the landscape. You can put them in sun. You can put them in shade. They are so versatile, and they are also a tropical plant. Now, if these guys get a little bit of cold, in my experience, they tolerate the cold just a wee bit better than the croton plant. These don't throw quite a fit. They will thin a little bit. If the temperatures get into the 40s, they'll thin a little bit, but unlike the croton, it'll just start dropping its leaves all over the place and just go into a full-on fit, in my experience. These guys don't they don't throw quite that fit. We don't generally have, too much by the way of freezing temperatures here in my area, so for that I am thankful, and we can grow these just, year-round in our landscape. But I would definitely highly recommend anyone who, well, even if you do love crotons, anybody who's looking for a good plant, a good shrub that likes, or a good plant actually that is for foliage color, this would be another one that I would highly recommend. Now this guy, I believe the copperleaf shrubs, I want to say they get upwards to 3 to 5 foot high, and but they're moderate, slow to moderate growers, so I shouldn't say slow, they're moderate growers. I nip and tuck on mine all the time just to kind of keep them bushy, because the more that you do trim on them, the bushier and more shapely, kind of fat and round they become. Absolutely gorgeous, and I'm in love with them even more because they did so well over here on the south side of the yard. Now, while we're talking about the copper plant, this leads me to as we're getting towards the end of this video, this leads me to another copper shrub that I have been looking for. While it's not rare, it is one that has been really, really hard to find, and I had to call a couple of nurseries to see if they had the copper leaf shrub that is more of a white yellow color, and I'm going to turn the camera around and I'm going to show that to you. That is this guy right here, and I am in love with him. It took me a while to find this beauty. Like I said, it's not that they're rare, it's just they don't carry them. They're not as widely available, I guess, in this particular color as they were with the color that I showed you before. And so, we'll be going down the road and I'll tell my husband, oh my God, I've got to get one of those. I've got to get one of those. And so finally, like I said, I called around and I found a nursery that was pretty local. It was in actually a little bit farther south from us, but I called and the guy said, I have 7 of them. I said, pull 3 of them because I'm coming to get them. And so I put this one in this spot. I did some relocating and I put him over here. Now, one of the differences with this particular color copperleaf shrub, it does recommend, again, I've never grown this is just what the nursery people were telling me, these guys actually prefer a little more shade. I've got him in a morning sun, and he's going to get a very shaded afternoon, late afternoon. And I don't know how it's going to work with him being in this spot as we go into next spring, late spring, early summer, because what happens is on the south side of the yard, our sun just completely shifts. Right now, it's sinking into the south and it's coming in right like this in the morning. And then in the afternoon, it doesn't get any more sun right here. But in the summer months, that sun goes straight overhead and this beast will be right in the dead of the heat. He'll get the morning sun, he'll get the afternoon sun, and he will get the dead afternoon sun as well. So I'm not real sure how well he'll do. We're going to kind of test it out. If for some reason he doesn't do really well, I will relocate him. And what I did was, I'm going to flip the camera around. I'm going to show you where I planted 2 more. I planted 2 more of these beauties. I got one over here. He is incognito. He's right over here. And the coloring on this guy is just absolutely spectacular. And I thought with that beautiful, I'm going to bring the camera just a little bit more because you've got to just see this gorgeousness. Isn't he just beautiful? But I thought with those creamy white and yellow, the green, but the white yellow leaf pattern that's on, not pattern, but the leaf, well, pattern, yeah, it just draws your eye right into the shrub. And here, you guys, you can see the little catkins that are on him, but this is so funny because when they actually bloom, they bloom the same color as the leaf, thereby not really being able to see them, quite as well unless you open it up and you take a look inside. But here's another one over here. I've got him. Ooh, let's go around the fountain. There we go. Another one right over in here. Isn't he gorgeous? Isn't he gorgeous? I just love him. So there you guys go. just some staple plants that I have over here that did absolutely beautiful over here. And I am super, super glad. And as we're going into more of the cooler time of the year, hopefully, hopefully pretty soon. Actually, it's not bad out here right now. But as we're going into more of the cooler times of the year, I can work on, again, trying to amend, the soil, adding black cow. As a matter of fact, some of the plants that I actually have over here, I'm going to, for example, just really quick, I want to show you the Ixora that I have back here. That's these guys right here. Now, these guys did not do quite as well. Ixoras are another stable plant living here in South Florida. I had 2 of them. These 2 were actually here. These 2 were down a little bit farther. What I did was I transplanted them right here just to make just a nice little, I don't know, kind of like maybe a little bit of a moon shape in here. Kind of follows the sidewalk. But I had a terrible time with chlorosis with these guys. They are heavy, heavy feeders. And I think that they'll do okay over here. I really do. But I really am going to need to work on making sure that I amend the soil. What I did was when I transplanted these guys, I added black cow, a compost, organic compost to the holes. And then what I did to these 2, because they were already in the ground, I just scratched the dirt really, really well. And I added some black cow compost. And I just went ahead and scratched it in the ground really well and then watered it in really well. And then what I'll do is I will just kind of lightly fertilize as we go. Because living here in South Florida, we're in the month of October. I will fertilize again because, again, until I see things really stopping or slowing down their growth, I continue to fertilize. As long as my plants are putting on growth, I continue to fertilize. So anyway, I'm really hoping that these guys are going to do well over here. And if for some reason they don't, I will pick them up and out, and I will relocate them somewhere where I know the ground's a little more fertile until I can get this area completely 100% the way I need for the ground to be more fertile, I guess. But hopefully that won't be an issue. Hopefully I can leave them right here. Okay, y'all, I hope that was, a little inspirational for you guys to see some of the things in my garden that absolutely did gorgeous on the south side of the yard, and it inspired you to maybe pick up a Skyflower, because that guy is a beauty. I absolutely love that Skyflower. And for those of you who were maybe not, familiar with that flower, I hope it gave you a little bit of an insight to that plant, and also some of the foliage color that I've got going on over here. In my earlier gardening days, it was always about flowers, and I've learned so much as I've grown and put things in my garden and figured out what I liked and what I didn't like, and I am definitely learning that I love the foliage color. I've just, like I said, not that I'm shying away from putting in flowers because I do love the seasonal color, but I got to tell you, I am really digging all of this, no pun intended. I'm loving the color in the foliage, in the copper plants, and my crotons, the coleus plants. There are so many plants out there that have the variegated leaves, even by red hot hibiscus, the variegation. I absolutely love them. And of course, behind me, I don't know if you guys can see, I have a bougainvillea. That's my latest craze, is growing bougainvillea in baskets, and that'll be another video that I'll show you guys because I'm getting ready to plant up some bougainvillea in some baskets. But I don't want to drone on too much. I don't want to bore you guys, and I hope I haven't. But this guy behind me is doing absolutely beautiful. Again, he's got beautiful variegated leaves, and I'm learning to absolutely love the leaf color as opposed to the flower color. So again, you guys, I hope this was a little inspirational for you guys to learn along with me about the plants, and to get out in your garden and plant what you absolutely love. And until the next video, bye for now.